Hello and welcome back to Tekkify. It's been a while. I've been having to deal with an awful lot of things lately, but I'm back. Sorry for the long wait between episodes. Because it's been so long, I've since built this house and decked it out and done all pretty things elsewhere and various things, but unfortunately it's been that long I've also moved out and gone elsewhere and done something else. Which does mean that what I was planning to do at the time, but failed to, was show you a couple of other cool systems and things here, and other things I'd built. I can quickly run around and show you everything else I actually had done. I mean, I'm pretty sure I showed all this already, but I had like solars in the roof and things, and there's bees over there. I had built this building here, but fully decked it out. I had tanks in here and everything. They're gone now. Hello, creeper. Bam. I can now shoot things and teleport, but that's a bit trippy. I won't do that too much. Pretty much moved everything out aside from my DNA to somewhere else, and I had built this underground area for showing cool systems, which I thought looked quite nice, but I ended up moving out. I needed more space, and when I say I needed more space, I definitely needed more space. Just realised I forgot to change my chat settings so I could do commands but not see the chats. Hang on a second. Okay, gonna have to see a bit of the chat for a second. Right. Oh, hello. It's dinging at me. 2. Okay, first things first. I'm somewhere new. Some of you may recognise this because you've already found the place. I've posted pictures of it on Tekkify forums, but this is what has become the base for my clan. Which is basically a giant cathedral type deal. I call it my Science Cathedral for all your blasphemous needs. Sorry if that's a bit offensive, but I like the idea of mixing two things that really seem to be polar opposites. Also, firework bees going off all the time, thanks to... Oh dear god, my chat's still going. Okay, that's better. Okay, so... dinging at me again. So... my little Science Cathedral, I'm not going in the water. Fireworks, thanks to Lion, King Keats, who provided a little bee that will not do anything aside from launch fireworks and will never die. Pretty cool. I built this place in a week. It took me ages to do, and I daren't go near the back because it's becoming incredibly laggy back there for no reason whatsoever. I mean, above stairs it's fine, but downstairs it's not. Anyway, this is the little corner I started building in. I had full setup here and everything, but I've since moved it downstairs as well, so it's a little scattered, just random things. Laptronic charge pad, rock crusher, stuff like that. But my ME system is now here, which I have fully built properly. ME systems, because people were complaining I have way too many deep storage units, and they're right. An ME system is better by far, and I love it, and I don't think I could live without it anymore. I've upgraded it massively. I've just got the 2 64K storage, which isn't great for a number of items, but it's good for lots of individual ones, because I have lots and lots of lovely things, which means I can build amazing systems. Look at those diamonds. Roughly half of the ingots and diamonds and things that you see are nabbed from Lion Light, because he's decided to reset, and I was giving away his stuff, so I nabbed a load of things from him. I have a nuclear reactor up here, which is a very extremely good setup. It's based upon a very standardised design. I can't remember who it's by, but the idea is this here and these 6 cells. The efficiency, if you look it up, is 3.33 on the nuclear reactor planner. Now, to make the resources more efficient as well, I don't like to double up the cells because it requires copper plates, and trying to automate that system as well as just do it is really hard because the ME utterly hates uranium cells. No idea why. Anyway, so 4 reactors surrounding an MFSU, which just flickers the power. But I'm generating all this power. I mean, each of them make 100 EU per tick. Where's it all going? Now here is going to be the focus of this video, is going to be why all that power is going away. Namely this, to be honest. Cobble Production and recycling. Pretty much ta-da. Or ta-da, as it should be. I have a massive bank of recyclers here. The idea is they turn cobblestone into scrap. I then have a cyclic, if it wasn't so buried behind things, a cyclic assembler if I could get the words out. Cyclic assembler, creating scrap into scrap boxes, using the schematic, constantly being fed by solar power and engines and things. I also have night vision on my head, so it's actually a lot darker in here. So this is how it actually looks, which is a lot more moody and nice. Anyway, stick that back on so everything can be seen nicely. So no more dark rooms and no more not being able to see. All of these recyclers are running on roughly 3 overclockers each. Not very fast, but there's so many of them, it makes up for it. And I currently have 3 million cobblestone, or rather 3.8 million, it doesn't show better. All of the cobblestone is buried underneath in my cobblestone pits, or igneous pits, whatever you want to call them. And I have currently 3 lots of 128 igneous extruders producing them. Only two of the towers are active, which means that is 128 cobblestone produced per second. It's an insane amount. That's pretty much why all the power is being drained. The idea is cobblestone is produced for free. Many people always get the idea that it somehow consumes lava and water. When you're making stone, it consumes water, and when you're making water and lava, when you're making obsidian, it consumes lava and water equally. With stone, it only consumes lava slowly. But on cobblestone, you just whack in 1 bucket of lava and water each, and it'll run forever, quite happily. So you build loads of these things, and you're laughing. Anyway, got the cobblestone running into the deep storage unit. Deep storage unit here. Behold, cobblestone! Now this cobblestone goes to the recyclers. Recyclers go to being a scrap box, and the scrap box is sent to these dispensers. Now, the dispensers will tick, and what happens is the scrap boxes need to be opened. The dispenser is the only thing that can do that. So when they tick, the scrap boxes open, and they get dropped into the item hopper, which I have been the results of which being collected into the ME system and processed. But the idea is for a scrap box. If I just bring it up here, scrap box. The idea is with the scrap box, its two uses are fuel, like this, and producing random items. Percentages are rarely above very high. They're at 9.46%. The idea is, just occasionally you can get good things like redstone and tin, iron dust, and gold, and all sorts of wonderful McGubbins. Diamonds, very low chance, but it does happen. And the idea is, the dispensers will open the scrap box, and Bob's your uncle, really. You get random items. I have 2 void chests set to sucking out all the dead and worthless items, like anything that's crap, like wooden tools and dirt and gravel and things will get sucked out. Also golden helmets, because thanks to Red Power 2 not being in there, which it was before, or I think episode 1 and 2 had, and I think it was up to episode 5 or 6, just before the soft reset, there was still Red Power 2, so you could melt down the helmets and the minecarts for extra golden iron, but having no way to do that, they're kind of useless to me. So I just ditched them. Which results in me ending up with loads of cobblestone, loads of random items, and so many ingots. It would be overpowered if it wasn't for the fact that it actually takes quite a lot to build and run. This isn't something that will give you everything overnight. It won't allow you to build in creative. What it will do is give you a good steady trickle or supply of resources, and roughly 24 hours of activity pretty much always compensates for the materials you put into it in the first place. And that's quite nice, actually. It's not too fast, not too slow, and while you can make the system massive and seriously go nuts with it, it's not really worth it. You get to a certain level, it's a nice steady trickle, everything else you need can be done. You can just wait around for ages and get everything you need, or you can go mining and leave it running for just an extra buffer of materials. But there is another thing, is the server rules and restrictions mean that you cannot actually exceed a certain level. You're only allowed to have 2 dispensers hooked up to a single timer which ticks every 2 seconds, which means your rate of ability to open scrap boxes is limited, which means you should only really produce them so fast unless you want access to sell, which means the rate of production from recyclers needs to be limited, which means the rate of production of cobblestone needs to be limited. Only reason I'm going for the greater amount of cobblestone is simply I'm building it up. Everyone seems to have a fad about filling a deep storage unit, mostly RF and Lionlight, although Lionlight's starting over and RF now has 93 million cobble. Still nowhere near finishing. But more cobblestone the merrier, really. You can just keep processing it, so even if your igneous extruders all get removed or like they die or something, you've still got one full of cobblestone and you can process away quite happily. However, I have to take a moment to breathe now. Whew. However, you... Ah, damn! I lost my steam. However, this the system would never really be able to work if it wasn't for a multitude of mods working together, namely IC2 for the recyclers, and personally for me the nuclear reactors, but that can be variable for whatever you want really, however you want to power it. For thermal expansion, or TE, I keep wanting to call it TE, but it's actually thermal expansion, which provides the cyclic assembler, which is so useful. I was using auto-grafting tables before, but they were extremely slow. The cyclic assembler uses not very much energy and runs really, really quickly. Also, the ME system, it's not integral, but it is extremely useful because it can move everything around as fast as is needed without overflowing it. It makes everything so much smoother and simpler, and allows for the storage of everything else that's produced. And finally, I think... I'm trying to remember the last piece of it. Oh, hello. Shoot! Blam. Blam. Just casually kill some things that keep spawning up there. What was the last one I wanted to mention? I have to look around now. Well, thermal expansion also provides the igneous extruders as well, which is kind of a really important part. Oh, and yes, the Redneck cabling for allowing for the timer function, so that you don't have to use a standard vanilla Minecraft timer, which is really laggy and annoying, and if the TPS of the server isn't running very well, it lags out and can even glitch and stop working properly. Whereas a Redneck timer will happily run as long as it's loaded. And all of these are just hooked up. This is hooked up to an online player detector, so when I'm offline, everything goes offline, which is, again, a part of the server that's meant to be done. And also the timer runs the dispensers. Void chests, so useful. Basically, the system wouldn't work very well if you removed any of the particularly core mods. And there is something else as well. I would love to go over there and show you my amazingly large boiler and sign for me accidentally not turning off my engines and someone turning up for me. Whoopsie daisy. And my giant tank of fuel. However, if I go over there, I will lag out beyond belief. For some reason, whenever I approach it, it's fine for a few seconds, and then my FPS drops to like 0.000005. No idea why, it just happens. Random sheep over there, that's Arne Jacobs, I think, who's in my clan. It is meant to be a clan base. I do have a personal home, but this particular production system I've brought together myself, made myself, but it is for the clan, which is useful. I mean, a system of this size can't really be kept to one person without being actually quite overpowering. That's pretty much the ins and outs of it. And now for the process, the actual ins and outs. The idea is the igneous extruders, I'll get to them, with their with their lava and their water will make cobble. Now that, if I can just get in here, gets taken through an item router. I don't have anything mapped in it, and if I don't have anything mapped in it, it automatically ejects to the bottom. It would automatically eject to the top, except for the fact that the way it functions, it will draw in items that are thrown at it. So if it were to eject out the top, it would just bounce on top of itself internally, unless you had something to pick it up. So to prevent problems like that, it just doesn't eject to the top ever. It's part of how it's designed. The item routers take it all the way to the bottom, and they get taken to these ME interfaces. Now, the interfaces are extremely useful because they're not an input bus, they're not an output bus. You can't really program them as well as they can, but the idea is that you shove an item into it, it just takes it to the ME system. The cable runs all the way back up the entire thing. I prefer to have them at the bottom. It's easier than having to map every single one of the item routers and having to do this whole thing sideways. Besides, it kind of looks cooler. Just get back upstairs. Also, now the deep storage unit is good because when you have a ME storage bus on top of it, doesn't matter what the deep storage unit's settings are for ins and outs, it will still use it properly like it's just a chest, just a really, 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 really big chest. And yes, it did need all those reallys because the maximum storage is 2 billion. Not something you could hit easily. Anyway, once the cobble is stored in there, any cobble that is needed is drawn into the recyclers by the export buses, which are housed underneath these things here. Export buses export cobblestone in stack mode. It can be done in single, but depending upon how fast the recyclers go, it might have to be done in stack mode. So the recyclers exports cobblestone into them, it recycles them, produces scrap. These are unprogrammed precision import buses, not stack. They don't need to be, you don't need to fiddle with them, just place them, it'll draw all of the scrap out of it. It's quite intelligent in figuring out that it's going to draw in from the output slot of the machine, not from the input slot of the machine, so you're not having cobble constantly flowing around the system and draining power, because moving the stuff does use power. And just having these things active uses it, but moving items uses power too. Of course, you need power to the actual recyclers as well. Technically speaking, the most efficient setup is to have one overclocker in every single one of them, and as many recyclers as you need, and the import and export buses. But because the import and export buses uses quite a bit of power as well, I found that 2 is more efficient, and because I really don't want to make more recyclers, I've got 3 in pretty much all of them. It's not the most efficient, but it's pretty damn close. It works. So they're all powered, quite lovely jubbly, from the nuclear reactor, and once they are done, all the scrap goes to the cyclic assembler, where it gets turned from 9 scrap into a single scrap box. Scrap box goes into the dispensers, again from the ME export buses. The timer ticks them. It could be a vanilla timer, it could be this kind of timer. Preferably this Redneck Timer, because Redneck is extremely useful. I mean, you can program the hell out of this thing. 6 pages of things you can do. So many different circuits, and this is the basic circuits that come with it. You can add extra upgrade bits to add more functions and more ways of it kind of crossing with itself as well. So you can basically create like a calculator in this thing if you really wanted. Actually, I don't know if it could go that far, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so the Redneck Timer at the moment is just on basic CNST 40, 2 seconds, 20 ticks is a second, so 40 ticks is 2 seconds. Because the TPS of the server is probably about 15, it's actually more likely that 30 CNST is, but from Minecraft's perspective, it's meant to be 2 seconds. IOB just back, so it has the signal, it goes to the back, and it just ticks on, off, basically. It doesn't just like flick on for a moment like a button, which you can make it do, but just this works fine because you don't really need anything more complicated than that. I also have an override system I still have yet to build into this, which basically means that when I'm offline, it fills the entire system with a redstone signal, so even when this ticks, it doesn't matter, it just doesn't manage to output anything, it just ticks internally. There is a way to make it so that when it receives the signal itself, it stops doing the ticking entirely, which is more efficient technically and probably produces the tiniest less lag. But it's not much of an issue if you can just manage to override the actual dispensers ticking, which is what causes the most lag. Anyway, so dispensers tick, items produced, crap goes into these. So golden helmet, gravel, dirt, minecart, soul sand, stick, wooden tools. Soul sand is crap because you can get so much of it from the nether, it's insane. All the ores and dusts and stuff, ores go into here. All of the dusts, both from the scrap and from the ores that are made, go into here. So I've got copper going through currently. And all of that just gets ditched back into the ME system. And that's pretty much it, really. I mean, if you know how to make all of these basic things, it is incredibly easy. The system works on the smallest of scales. You literally could just need one ignition extruder, one recycler, and some way to move the stuff around. And you could even make the scrap boxes by hand and open them by hand, which is pretty much what I did when I first started. Just made scrap boxes and opened them by hand, gave me loads of stuff. It was really annoying to manage, so automating it made it a lot easier. But at the same time, also makes it more boring. But if you don't want to hang around, the good thing is it produces items, hello spider, and you can just make more systems out of it. I don't know, it's something I recommend as at least a basic system for like giving you extra stuff. But at the smallest of scales, it's not usually completely worth it because mining can produce more in a greater amount of time. And actually, I think if someone were to mine for the same period of time that this has been on, they'd probably be about equal by now. But that works because I don't have to mine. I just keep the place loaded and I don't have to mine, ever. Extremely useful, so I don't have to do any boring mining whatsoever. That's it on recyclers, really. I haven't really made any progress elsewhere, aside from the boiler thing, which I was going to show you, which is really cool, but because of the lag, so I'm going to have to do that at some point else. Suffice to say, oil fabricator, refiner, boiler, energy, oil fabricator again. That's the system cycle. If you can figure out from there, oh dear, so many fireworks. If you can figure out from there, then you're a genius. Yeah, that's it really. Oh dear, lag spike. That's just from me looking at the area all of a sudden. How much have we got here? 9 million. I could do with a top up. Grab my fist. That's full. That's not. So yeah, that is going up. Good. The moment the TPS of the server is a little bit laggy, and it's functional, that works really. I mean, at the moment, all this episode really is just run you up to date on everything that's done. I built my damn thing. I've been away for ages. Sorry about that. And hey, look, a system. See if you can build it. Trying to think of more things to say. It's starting to feel more like a vlog now. Oh yeah, that was another thing. I do have a camera. I'm still trying to figure out how to get a face cam into it. It's being annoying, and nothing really came with it. I have no disc or anything, so trying to get it up and running and have like a me in the corner somewhere. Probably not on top of the map. Probably in the top left. I'm thinking. Well, yes, just me. So hopefully get that working. There'll be me, my ugly face in the videos as well, and more things to come as well, not just Tekkify. Only reason I've done another Tekkify video is because there's been extreme demand for it, and I have limited time at the moment, which brings me on to why I have limited time, which is I've moved my computer into the front room of my house, and we live with 5 people, and 2 of them are regularly over anyway, which means the room is very busy, and my recording time is very limited. So, this is pretty much why I'm doing this now and trying to rush through this video, is I have a brief moment of glory where everyone's out doing something, and, well, one of them isn't, is asleep, but that's it, really. Also, things have been quite hectic. I've been home for summer, and now I've come back, and then there's also been things to deal with. University, resit exams, yes, I didn't do particularly well, not so good me. But I passed, and I'm in the next year, and it's good, and it's wonderful, and it's actually more interesting, and so there's that to do, and oh dear, steam went off, sorry. And yeah, so videos, if I can do it right, if it really bugs me, I'll probably just move my computer back to my room and record from there again, so I can do it more regularly. If it proves too sporadic down here, the advantage of down here is I can group record more easily, which is something I might like to do at some point. Probably be group recording on things like Warframe and Borderlands, maybe, because I have, and please don't berate me, I've never played Borderlands more than about level 15. Kinda bad, but hey, I really love it, even though I've barely gotten anywhere, so plan to get a bit further in that. Also, I'm going to be doing more Kerbal Space Program, because there's a new career mode, so I'm going to run through that. Actually, I'm probably going to go pop off and record that now while I can as well, so I think that'll probably have to do for this episode. Yeah, oh, the power's full. I probably should stop standing on that. That is the recycling system and a new episode of Tekkify. Now please shut up. I joke. I hope it was worth it. I hope you learned something new. Sorry if it wasn't the mods you were after. I'm still working on getting everything else set up, but now with the resources I have, I can do it a lot more easily. Plan is to hopefully do a lot more on bees and automation of them, and maybe trees soon. I'm not sure. I have to finish building my own personal area, which I have planned for all this. I did originally plan to have this as well, but I turned into a clan base, so a bit while longer before I have my own personal area to actually properly record from and do everything and lovely. Only word on that is floating islands. That's pretty much it. So yeah, that'll do for this episode of Tekkify. Hope to see you guys next time, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye bye!